Ladies and gents, welcome back. We had an absolute banger to kick off the day, and it certainly lived up to all expectations, which I personally was very happy about. That was such a good spectacle, you know. And match 2, we do have Gravitas and Direwolves coming up very shortly. Of course, me, Mac, joined by Jubes and Skimmy today. They have been bringing you all the action with their wonderful voices as well. So let's just jump straight into it, all right? We got to talk about Gravitas first. Jubes, tell me why you love Gravitas, and let's see. All right, we've got Piglet back in the mix today.
They got a debutant as well. It's Floppy, I believe, in the support position. But Safa, Azus, this is pretty much the staple roster we've seen from them all split. They've had some very good games. They've had some games where they really look like upsetting, particularly one yesterday where, you know, a few things go a different way. They maybe beat the Chiefs there. So if I was the Direwolves, I'd be a little bit worried because Gravitas do have those moments where you start to think as a team, it's all coming together, and then they aren't able to just finish it off right in the mid-game where it's the hardest and you really need to have that synergy. Sometimes they stumble and fall, but this is some of the really good parts of their game here, being able to, you know, one of those members, Isaiah, really influencing team fights in a positive way. And anything else to add there, Skimmy?
Yeah, I think, for me, Isaiah's really been impressing me, as have their bot lane as a whole, right? The flexibility between Piglet as well as Thomas Shen, they can definitely show up when it's required of them. I think they just need that extra time on their side, right?
Yeah.
I think the questioning for us really is going to be, this is Gravitas in their first season. What does Split 2 look like for them? Because, you know, their playoff run has come to an end, but kind of like what we're mentioning for a lot of these games now, they have the ability to influence what that seeding still looks like with, you know, only 2 days remaining of that regular season. Maybe they can you know, throw a little bit of shade or cause an upset here for Direwolves.
Yeah, let's see if that happens. And I just wanted to point out quickly that Floppy, he's actually a CSGO professional as well. So good to see him branching out to play for Gravitas as well as C9. Now, let's talk Direwolves really quickly. All right, Direwolves, they're looking pretty damn good on that huge win streak. You know, you got Shock, the man who absolutely zoed up a storm yesterday, only there in the jungle doing a bloody beautiful baiting performance, getting everything sorted on that bloody Lilia. Everything just looked wonderful for them yesterday. And even Claire going out to the Camille, I believe.
Yeah, Claire diversifying his champion pool. Slow and steady wins the race for him. Started off the split with traditional top laners, but definitely kept his champion pool very narrow. But whilst Direwolves won this game quite convincingly in the end, with the veterans they have on their team, I don't think they would be super happy with this performance, right? There were moments where Legacy really looked like they were going to take over the game. So if you're Direwolves, I think they're going to be hoping for a much more clean, consistent, and statement game, I think.
Yeah, without a doubt, I think for them it's all about making sure, okay, these are our strategies, this is our identity, this is really what we want. We need stage game performances that really not only give us the confidence, but start to get into our opposition's head. Like, hang on a minute, maybe this is a champion we need to consider for draft in terms of banning it away or prep, because as much as we hype on about, you know, this is a team with tons of experience, best of fives is where they're going to time, you know, really into their own. You need to, you know, find that balance of the best of both worlds, right? So best of one statement performances can never go amiss.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see if, you know, maybe there's some upset potential today, or if Direwolves are just going to lock it down like we expect them to, because, you know, they now are still in contention to maybe make that second slot, which will make their playoffs run a little bit easier. And look, we got Nat on the side lane. She's already found who she wants to chat to going into today's matchup. So let's bring her in. Nat, who do you have for us?
I'm going to be talking to Safa and Cupcake, which is going to be really exciting because, Safa, you guys unfortunately have, you know, no longer the chance to make it to playoffs. But then it begs the question, what are you guys hoping to get out of these remaining games that you have coming up?
I think that as a whole, we didn't really kind of roll over and give everyone like easy games. I think that we're still trying to improve and hopefully, you know, just set higher goals for Split 2 and see how we go there.
I mean, look, you're right. Split 2 is just a completely different ball game. But Cupcake, you guys are in a really good position. We just saw Peace lose to Pentanet, which means that if you win today, not only do you definitely secure number 3, you put yourselves in a really good position to potentially come out at number 2 as well. So how much pressure are you guys putting on yourselves and how are you feeling?
I don't think there's too much difference between second and third. If I'm correct, I think it's like side selection. But No, we're still just trying to be the best team we can, like come playoffs, and it's getting a little bit closer. So we're really trying to step up our like training schedule and making sure that everyone is like fitting in properly. But in terms of the game tonight, I don't think it plays in too much into the bigger picture. So we're just gonna try to bring our A game.
Does this mean that there's a potential for you guys to try out some new things that aren't super risky?
No, I think we'll be taking this game as seriously as all the others. As I said before, like all stage games are really good practice just to see how everyone performs under the pressure. So no, we're not going to cut any slack today.
And Safa, you guys, I mean, like I said, you're not going to be making it to playoffs, unfortunately. Does this open up the potential to try out new gameplays and new drafts, especially with, you know, bringing in Floppy, who we haven't seen before in the LCO?
Yeah, he definitely happens to be in a Mumu player, so if that's kind of what you're after, there's potential for that. But I think we're gonna give it like a good shot, and I don't really think it's going to be this like whole one-sided stomp. And if anything, I think we have a good chance of also taking the game today, because I think all our players have a lot of potential. So hopefully we'll see how we go from there.
I'm definitely not looking for the Mumu draft. I'm just very curious to see you guys bring in someone new at this point, I guess, in the split. But thank you both so much, and good luck with the game. I'll be very interested to see how it plays out.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So was a mumu derived from a cow? Is that where the name came from, Nat?
A Mumu's a pharaoh. Well, he's a dead mummy, really.
But where's
and
the
then he has a
mumu come
pharaoh
from?
skin. I assume like
It's like
Mummy?
dad jokes on air, hey.
It's a full dad joke.
yeah. It's really funny, Mac.
I don't understand.
Just leave him hanging like, yeah, cool,
I
fair.
still don't get it. Anyway,
Thanks,
you know,
Dad.
Nat, you're supposed to be the Amumu expert, and
I just
you've,
said he's
you've
a
dropped
mummy.
the ball. And
So
look, let's.
the Mumu, the part of the mummy, the
Mumu.
MU.
Isn't that like a gown? Anyway, look, bring the predictions up. Let's have a look at where we're going with this, because no one's on the same page as me. I'm just too old for these fellas here. Now, look, I'm almost there. 25-24. Very proud of myself here. And just to be aware, you know, for the rest of the split, I'm only picking the underdogs because someone's got to believe in them. And your boy Mac is full of belief, and that's it. You know, that's all we want here. Now, give me Nat. You know, why have you gone for Direwolves?
I was going to say, the Gravitas, you know, we have absolutely no idea what they're going to pull out with the new support. It could really change up their whole drafting style. So this actually kind of looks good for you. But like I said, I think Direwolves are just on a train that can't be stopped. I don't really see them losing. I think they found a lot of team synergy lately.
Very true. Now, Jubes, what's the secret to being 44-5?
You just got to know a lot about the players. I've played with a lot of the players, and I think I know a lot about the team dynamics. So I just forge my opinions based off of the feel. I've felt them. I've played against them. You know what I mean in that sense? So when you feel something, you have a better indication. And I've just felt it a lot.
Right, and Skimmy, what about you? You know, give us your quick, what are you laughing about? What's
He's
so
gone
funny?
down the whole philosophical route, like he's Dr. Phil, Dr. Juice. Yeah, look, you know, I've diagnosed these players. I've been there, I've done it, I've seen it all. You know, solo queue to being a manager, to being a caster, to being pretty much, you know, the face of OS now. You know, for me, what am I take? Why have I gone for Direwolves? Look, I think for them, they really are after as much Sage experience as possible, right? They really want to, you know, put scrim performances into stage games to get themselves into that playoff spot and say, right, best of fives, this is as strong as we are, let's have at it. So I think they're not going to be taking any chances, as Cupcake mentioned.
I really hope we get to see something cool coming out of Gravitas going into this one. You know, we're edging closer towards the draft. What do you think we're going to see, you know, at least Floppy play? It's his first time. Any background on Floppy from anyone here? You know, stick your hands up.
I don't want to miss the mark and then call him a player that he's not, but I believe he's a Nami player, or was a Nami player. And
Okay.
again, I could be mixing my players up because there's Floppy and Flippy and Dippy, but you
Well, let's
never
say
know.
he is a Nami player. How does Nami match? Like, have we seen her in LCO? I have a
look,
really bad memory. So
I'll be
how does
honest-
she fit into this meta?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. If we pick Nami, we should pack the game up quickly. Very quickly. very quickly.
Well,
Right.
let's you know, we're not quite towards Champ Select, and we
We're
have
not
been
there yet.
sent a couple more clips as well. So thank you very much, fans at home. You know, at LCO, if you want to drop your clips in, and Jubes, you know, here's the reins again. We love your PBP,
Play.
so do your damn best job.
Okay, so here we have the Wonder of You just in the mid lane, doing a little bit of a dance, walks past the Yasuo, can't believe it. It's a 1v3, goes in, double distort onto the center. The center flashes forward. I can't believe that flash. Must have been a very bad flash from him. Not must have, definitely was. The Bard slapping someone. Wonder of You has, that was the whole play there. 18 and 4, I can't believe it. That was the whole play there. We're going to get a replay coming back on in so we can just see what happens. Double distort into the chain. Center flashes into melee range. Big statement coming out of the center. If anything, I'm more impressed from Dig's TP because he flashed into melee range as he went down there. Absolute Chad gaming, Chad behavior surely was reported from his team on the back end there. But nevertheless, good play from the Wonder of You. Forced the pressure, created the angle, saw the movement, little bit of elegance, little bit of pressure, forced something that wasn't there. Well done.
Okay, all right. Now, you know, out of 10, I reckon that was good 8.5 Jubes on your behalf. And Skimmy, you want to quickly give us a rating of what rank you reckon that one was?
I'm just gonna go optimistic again. We're gonna hit the gold switch once more. Do we know if I got the last one right? I actually have no idea.
Well, we know
have
that
The Wonder
this
of You,
one,
can we find out?
this
I have
one
him on my
is
friend list. I know what
Gold
he is.
4. So
Yeah.
there you
Oh,
go.
he
So
is?
this was Gold 4 game. And look, we do have one more clip. So Nat, I heard you were looking to try out to be the best female play-by-play
play-by-play?
caster
Yes.
in Australia.
Let's
So
go.
you're gonna take us through this clip right now
Okay.
on the
Yep.
spot.
I don't know many of the champs, so I'll give
Hit
this
it.
one a go.
Good luck.
I don't know what champ that is. Don't know what they're doing, but whatever they're doing, they're just rolling down into a team fight that
Oh!
started. He's knocked him out. He's pushed
Holy.
all the way back into his area. He's gone under the turret to do it.
It's
the poor
Amumu!
Amumu is just absolutely getting dumped it on. There is no way Amumu's coming back from that, and I guess he gets punished for it in the end as well.
Is that
actually
B
wasn't bad.
Mumu?
Yeah, it wasn't a Mumu that he absolutely just
It's a new
went
clip.
ham on.
This is
Oh,
a
new
clip.
clip.
Cool.
Keep
Same
going.
person.
Another clip. Quick, go.
I've already missed half of the team fight, but it looks like whoever this person is, they've just done a great job of using their
Oh, the Nami.
hourglass. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Jimmy
Keep going.
99
Keep
vague.
going.
Oh, it's still
Penta.
going.
Matt,
Oh, and
hype
then
up.
they've caught the Zoe as well, and that's it. They're going to collapse in on the Zoe, and they're just going to say goodbye, pack it up. The team's just
Oh!
done. Pentakill in the bag.
Penta!
So clean.
Wow. Nuts. Good job, Nat. Absolutely
Thank you.
perfect. 10 out of 10. Sublime. Now,
I think I did
look,
well for only knowing the Amumu.
what rank do we reckon that one was quickly before
Wait,
we
which
jump
one?
into
The
Champ
first or
Select?
second?
Yeah.
The second one.
I think it's the same game.
Not sure.
Or it's the same person.
This is
Nah,
a different clip.
game. It's a different game. The first one, though, I'll be honest, I think it was a normal game because I think it was like a Mumu bot lane, if I'm being completely honest. Or it'd have to be like bronze or iron. And if it's anything more than that, then the summoner's code has been breached.
There it is
Like an-
in the segment.
I can tell you,
Um,
it's bronze 2. That
okay.
second
I
clip
thought
was
so.
bronze 2.
I thought
It was
so.
a little bit
I'm-
of running around, a
Does
bit
that,
of smurfing maybe.
does that immediately make me a bronze if I play a Mumu then?
No,
In
it's not
support,
the Mumu
maybe?
pick. It's when
No.
the Mumu was picked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's
you
the
know,
role.
just it was like a flex pick. You know, Amumu's usually pretty much just in the jungle. I think, you know, we've had a chat about it potentially being used as a support on the odd occasion. There's some viability there. Jubes maybe not above plat.
Can I ask, who was that champ at the start that was dumping on the
Kled.
Amumu?
Kled.
Kled, we have like a Oceanic guy by the name of Swiper, who's currently coaching in the LCS. Who
I've
was
met
a-
him before, yeah.
Yeah, you've met him.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, you did meet him. He was a Kled fiend. You could not take Kled out of that man's hands. You gave him you gave him the suggestion, he'd lock Kled in. So yeah, unfortunately that ship has sailed. He's retired onto different things, not bigger and better. Because if it was bigger and better, he'd be here with us. Because this
What's
is
he
the best
ride?
show in the world.
By the way, what's Kled riding? Is that a little
Yeah.
raptor?
Okay,
What's
now
his
you're
lore?
asking. Now you're asking
What's
me
the
for laws.
backstory?
I don't know.
Which
laws.
of the four casters
you're the
know the
expert.
lore of League of
I
Legends?
swear we need Rusty. Rusty can come and hit us with some
Yeah,
hot
Rust
fire,
on.
some like, you know, League of Legends
Yeah.
trivia. He'd win at bingo for sure.
Well, he's in chat, so hopefully he can quickly
At
fill everyone
Rusty
in
the
because he knows
caster.
everything. So, you know, go talk to that man. Now, look, before we do get into game 2, let's quickly have a quick chat about how great esports
Yes.
assessment labs are. You know, if you are looking to fill some time in your day, you just want to, you know, test how your reflexes are, of course. jump on over, and see how quick your cognitive ability is, because, you could measure it with Jubes, and Jubes' cognitive ability is generally pretty good. I think it's better than Skimmy's, so...
I reckon if you take it, you at LCO, we can compare it against all the other casters that have done it, and then maybe see how much better you are than them.
There you go. That's content. Now let's see if we can get towards that. And something else we need to move towards is the bloody Champ Select.
Yeah.
Match 2 coming up. Boys, take us into the action.
Well, here we go. Game 2 is underway. Direwolves needing to get one victory, just one victory to guarantee third. Sure, second is still on the cards, but it's all about a top 3 finish here, Juves, to get yourself the upper bracket and the extra lifeline for playoffs.
Yeah. I'm surprised. I was going to say, I was going to cut you off completely and just say first pick Thresh, because that's what I thought that'd be the angle for them.
Sure.
Since that's what we're used to seeing. And if you look globally, there's quite a few Thresh bans in the first 3. However, giving Gravitas the option. Does Floppy play Thresh? I did get confirmation that Floppy was in fact the Nami player that I had in mind. So interesting to see what kind of route he's taking in terms of diversifying his champion pool, and Thresh being locked in.
Certainly is. Far too good to pass up right now. It's the third most banned and first most picked champion in the entire league here for the LCO. Just does it all right. We talk about interactions of being an enchanter and being an engaged champion, but have the flexibility to buffer out these other engaged champions like Leona and Nautilus. It just offers far too much. That's going to be Floppy's statement to open up his account here at the tail end of week 5, and they're going to pair it quite nicely with the Kaiser.
Yeah, it's a decent bot lane pick, but we do see Tristana as an answer to the Kai'Sa. So we see a lot of Kai'Sa given away, but then you see Tristana as the answer, right, in lane, because you're able to farm up, scale up, you eventually outrange the Kai'Sa, and then you ultimately just do more damage. You win the 1v1. So, yeah, Tristana being picked up by Gunkrab, and he's maybe one of the only OS ADs that's putting a priority on Trist, I think. Like, there was a ban on it last lobby, so no one could pick that up. Violet is another one that does play that, now that my memory has been refreshed. But yeah, the priority Direwolves put on it is more than any other team in the league at the moment.
Definitely isn't as popular as the other AD carries, still lagging behind in a 5th spot overall. Worth noting that for Only, he's played the most Lilia games in the region. This will be his 6th game now, and he's the only player to be undefeated on this champion, 100%. Mr. Geordie?
Well, historically, he's a bit of a Nidalee player, and I think if you had a bit of fun on Nidalee and you piloted Nidalee quite well, then they're not the same champion by any means, but for some reason, there's like a very big overlap in players. The Nidalee players really like the Lilia and vice versa, and that's all they pick. So it was no surprise to me that Only picked this one up, became very competent on it, very comfortable on it, and yeah, it is one of his best champions now, right? If you look at Only last year, Nidalee was almost permanently locked in for him if he was given the opportunity. However, Nidalee is in a place where you can play it now. Like LCK still plays Nidalee quite a bit. Different regions play Nidalee, but he's just opting in for the Lilia every time.
It feels too good to pass up. I suppose maybe in this meta where it just offers so much more. Maybe the early game isn't as much of an investment anymore, but it's the fact that, come those mid to late game skirmishes, those ultimates are just so devastating. If we are seeing that Leandri's build, the front to back burn, it seems to be game changing.
Yeah, and the one thing I want to touch on that we did talk about a few weeks ago was Kayn was rising to popularity as a counter pick to the Lilia.
Yeah.
And now it's not a traditional counter pick where you just level 3 run into Lilia's jungle killer and you're laughing. You do need to get the blue form, and you do need to match her in terms of tempo, and Kayn can do that because Kayn is quite fast in terms of jungle clear. So I like to see Gravitas where Azus has something with a bit more proactivity and a little bit more priority, but they're opting in for more of a scaling type jungler for himself now.
Yeah.
And maybe like more of a 1v9 performance, right, if it comes to the mid game. However, drafting Kayn this early runs the risk of getting tanked out, right? Because he's going to get blue Kayn. That's the only, like for my money, that's the only reason you pick it.
Yep.
Then Direwolves pick a beefy frontline, and then the blue Kayn's just CC'd out.
Yeah, can't actually play the game. And we don't see too many Kayn performances. We've seen a couple so far, most dominantly from Swaif on the side of Chiefs, who likes to go for the carry potential.
And an army hover. There we go.
That would be interesting, especially with what we see so far between the Fresh and the Lux. But the Lux is worth touching on as well. I haven't seen it too often. Feels, I imagine, kind of the same role as a Karma, right? You've got that support in the mid lane to offer shields and offer CC to guarantee picks.
There's one player I want to give a little bit of a shout out to. Had some ups, had some downs. It's actually Safa of the Gravitas lineup because he's locked in this Ornn. Safa's come into the league being the Camille Aurelia player, right?
Yep.
And it's very hard to get players to change their train of thought. If they've just built a solo queue identity of being the carry and having the resources and facilitating the game around him, then it's hard to say, okay, you're picking Sion this game, you're picking Ornn this game. But in the last couple of weeks, he's taking a very big liking to these champions. And it's definitely been a learning curve for him. And he's definitely having games where there's a lot to take away. But he's not shying away from the challenge. And he's using these games as a tool or a resource for Split 2. And I think that's going to do him wonders when it comes to Split 2. And it's going to do Gravitas as a whole a significant amount because they're going to be able to have multiple different playstyles by the time Split 2 comes around. So obviously deserves a shout out for you know, putting his hand up and learning that new playstyle.
And I think you absolutely love to see this sort of evolution from a player coming from solo queue, being drafted into a competitive environment and sort of buying into what the coaching staff are putting forward, right? You know, hey, look, this is the identity we're trying to put together. We need to guarantee ourselves the tank so we can, you know, unlock the rest of the maps for these other players to, you know, play those hard carries for them to do their thing. So, you know, the fact that we have seen in their most recent games, the fact of multiple Sion performances and the odd carry. I mean, we've only seen a couple of performances in the likes of an Aurelia and a Camille. Otherwise, it really has been Gravitas top heavy on that side of the map.
Yeah, and in terms of both drafts, right, we got a little bit more of a laning phase draft from the side of Direwolves, rather, in the sense that Renekton's going to be bullying that 1v1, getting the lead in laning phase. I assume, you know, Shock on there's always going to be doing much of the same thing.
Yeah.
And when you pick the Tristana and the Alistar, yes, you can get flayed out of your headbutt Pulverize, but for the most part, you're looking for a kill, right? And especially knowing Gunkrab, knowing Cupcake, there's going to be fireworks in this bot lane, and they're going to be trying to get those leads very early on. Whereas the side of Gravitas, they're probably really happy to just scale and get their items. Scaling on both sides are okay, but if you have the Ornn, you have the Kayn, you have the Kai'Sa, scaling you'd have to say is on the side of Gravitas, just considering ornaments and all those factors.
Yeah, and it's definitely a point worth noting because if Gravitas are able to make this a fairly even match, definitely coming into the 20-minute mark onwards, at least post 13, you got a situation here where you think, okay, maybe this game really is up for that one final team fight to see how things can come to a close. So jumping into game number 2, as it is Direwolves taking on Gravitas. One win will do it here to guarantee Direwolves that top 3 finish, and I do believe we have a coach interview on standby as we're joined by Farmer. Can you hear us, Farmer? Are you there? It may seem like we've been left on scene here, Jubes. We've been left.
He's done the dosey do. He's come in, he's gone out. He's come in and he's gone out again, and he's just left us on. He's left us on scene. You know what? It's flashbacks all over again. Left on scene.
Yeah. Look. Wait. Let's try. Third time lucky. Have we been juked? Farmer, can you hear us?
Holy, I can't. Sorry guys, I can't hear anything. Just give me a sec.
No dramas.
Holy
You take your
moly.
time, champion, and we'll carry
On
on.
my phone.
Oh, I mean, what kind of phone is it? Maybe we can help. No, we can't help.
Look, we can hear him, but he can't hear us. And it's a bit of
Yeah.
a production nightmare, Jubes. I can imagine a level 1 fight is about to start. So we might just skip that for the meantime. And
Azu's got
let's see
it.
situation.
He missed the smite.
The smite's
Huge.
gone miss. And Direwolves say thanks for the invade.
Okay, I don't know if we've dropped the coach interview for now, but because Old Mate can't hear us anyway, so it's safe to carry on with the game. But that's an absolute disaster for Only. Yeah, that's an absolute disaster for Only. What you do with, actually, funnily enough, I'll backtrack. With Lilia and Kayn, they are one of the 2 champs or junglers where you can start Raptors or you can start the enemy Raptors. And you do it quick enough so that when they finish their buff, you're able to either leave or contest, right? Or fight. And in this instance, that was Only's idea. But he was doing it against the Kayn. And he just whiffs the smite. Auto attack from Azus gets the rates, hits level 2 early, and forces Only away. Now Lilia is quite a safe jungler, isn't going to take too much damage, but it just slows down Only's tempo.
Certainly does, and we know that Lilia isn't the strongest champion for forcing early objectives. Definitely needs pressure in lanes and assistance from teammates to ensure that can work in their favor. So maybe Azus has found himself in a really desirable situation right now where he's already looking to gank. He already wants to be deployed onto the map to find those angles to evolve as quickly as possible to get that slight tempo cheat. Really good start here as you see Claire now doing what Renekton really does best in the early game and shredding through this Ornn's HP bar.
Yeah, but Claire needs to be careful because does have the corrupting pot ticking. Use the biscuit as well, and he's quite neutral in this lane. Like, obviously Claire has that kill threat with the Renekton burst this early on, especially with the rage that's been that's stacking up each time he auto attacks, and might even just see him go for a little tail dive here. You never know. Pinging on the way, and this is where it's dangerous. This is where I want to see the evolution of Sapphire. He needs to identify that this is an angle in which he's going to get dove. If he hangs around for the next wave, he's as good as dead. So Ornn has the luxury of just resetting, teleporting back to lane, and you can just buy items whenever you please.
It's worth noting that Claire has started with the Doran's Blade here, Juves, so he's definitely looking for that early advantage of being aggressive and bullying him out. But I think the trade may have, or the window to try and force that turret dive so early on may have just passed as he's taken a few too many turret shots in his over-eagerness or his aggressive tendency. He's had the potion, but he's going to stay around the 50% mark. And I feel like he's quite happy knowing that his jungler's in the area. Another jungler in the area is going to be Kyosei, backed up by Azus, and there's going to be Lux that gets first blood here. That is tragic. That is beyond tragic. I mean, he had double flash, and he died. Ooh, that's nearly a second. That's cheeky from Only there, isn't it? That's very cheeky going back to mid lane through there. Kyosei lands that binding. That's another flash that has to go down. But what's huge about that is it's not that it's just first blood onto Lux. Yes, that's great, but it's the Kayn is opting in for blue form, right? Dark Harvest. Now, he's had some time hitting a champion of a ranged. Well, he's ranged. He's a ranged champion, right? Yeah. I was trying to think of another word, but it's simple. A ranged nature. Yeah, ranged nature was maybe the word I was looking for. And now that form is just going to come that much quicker, and he doesn't have to wait because he's going to have Darken. So, yeah, very good start for Gravitas in a composition where they probably shouldn't have a very good start. And we know how strong, Shock has been for trying to find these individual leads. We know that Zoe wants to get this lead so early on. He's got no flash juice. He could be in a world of pain right now, so he's already used the sleep to put Kyosei, lock him in place in the mid lane, anything. Floppy, first game here, already been aggressive, unlocked from the bot lane, going for the roam. Backing up Azus here and looking for that pre-level 6 gank. Yeah. Even Azus just getting some damage onto the Lilia here wouldn't be a bad thing. So there we go. A little bit more to the form. A little bit more. Renekton collapsing from the top side could be dangerous. 3-man in the mid lane at the moment. The one thing I kind of wanted to inform you of, Skimmy, is that Kyosei, before anyone knew Kyosei being Kyosei, right? Kyosei had a few names in solo queue but never really stuck with one. He was actually a Lux player. And so life before Ari, he was a Lux player. Yeah, got to challenger playing Lux, or at least Grandmaster, I believe. Again, maybe he'll correct me, but I remember my earliest days of playing with him. I remember he was just always picking the Lux, and it's not every day you get a Lux on your team and you think great, but he was like the player where if you had Lux, you were quite content and quite happy with as Hook just goes by. Just grazes going crab. Yeah. Maybe what you're getting at really more than anything is that Kyosei is the connoisseur of off-meta mid champions that tries to then filter down and force people like, Chungy and Chaz to say, maybe we will play Ari as well. I mean, he's trying to be the innovator here and bringing Lux into the fold. Yeah, for sure. And I'm just excited to see this Lux play out. And he's got the Verdant Barrier already, so Zoe's pretty much nullified in this lane. Yeah, Verdant Barrier, always so strong. And it seems always interesting when you look at these matchups. Cleanse comes out, but a little bit too late because the dive's going to connect. Cupcake hits the Pulverize. Kyosei's going to burn to the Ignite. Cupcake's going to die to the turret dive. And then Shock could be in a whole world of pain as well. The Sleepy Trouble double kill ahead. He gets the double kill, Juves. And it's just little outplays like that, right? Just a little bit too good that gets Direwolves the very big lead or brings the lane back, because Shock was in a little bit of trouble there, only just having that pathing. And this is why he's so good at Lilia, is because he's always known for his pathing, right? Really efficient jungle pathing. And when you're able to get level 6 first in most of your jungle matchups, you're just going to win the 2v2. And in that instance, right, if Azus has level 6, it's a different ball game. But, Cupcake again, good roam into the mid lane. Again, I think Kyosei, I thought maybe he lives here. Maybe he's done enough and we will see another fight. No chance to hold on to that one. Ornhorn goes out, knocks up 2, but it's Direwolves that lead the fight, and it is Gravitas in a 4v2 situation that wanted to disengage, so ult will be used, but nothing will come of it. And as you say, the cleanse was burnt late. He may have survived, but at least he made it 1-for-1, because Alistair without an ultimate, very squishy.
Now, does Gunkrab get punished here? Because they have a window where they can dive. Yep.
Hooks on, and Exhaust goes out straight away because that's what Gunkrab's itemized for. No heal, no ignite, no chance to take him down in a 2v1. Cupcake on the aggression. Not going to try and punish, and they'll just get a plate.
Yeah, you got to be happy with that. That's a decent Summoner Spell trade there. You know, Gunkrab losing that exhaust definitely makes him food for the bot lane of Piglet and Floppy. So when that level 6 ticks around for Thresh, probably going to be looking for the all-in there. Tristana is quite safe at level 6-2 though with the Buster Shot, the Rocket Jump. He's able to just really get half a screen away in terms of mobility. So if you haven't punished the Tristana now, then safe to say, you know, unless Gunkrab significantly misplays like he did just then, he should be pretty safe in that lane.
It certainly should be. Rocket Jump, very good against these dive compositions, which is definitely what Gravitas have got here. Plenty of pick potential, and if they find a hook, then the engage is definitely on as a result. Worth noting that Piglet has matched him for the summoner choice and also has gone for the exhaust, so might see some funny sideline or side lane more than anything, side laning action as they try to 1v1 one another. But as it stands so far, 9 minutes in, dead even between kills and dead even between gold.
Yeah, very close in gold too, and both teams probably happy with how the game's played out so far, right? I think if you said to Kiyose before the game, this would be where the position you're in against Shock. You take that 9 times out of 10. Got the Verdant Barrier. He's actually up gold, up 300, so of course he's happy with that one. And Lux is like a... might be a...
Oh,
okay,
flash.
This time he flashes. This time he's flashing. Ooh, okay. If that hook lands, yeah.
Oof. You wince for a second, you're hoping.
Yeah, I thought that was it. I thought Gunkrab's gone down there.
The kill was on. Gunkrab afforded another lifeline here as Direwolves could have potentially been collapsed on, given the fact they had started up the Dragon. They didn't necessarily have the numbers working in their favor. Cupcake so low, no ultimate, no chance to survive. Piglet questions him and picks up an easy kill. Now, is Piglet getting put to sleep? Gunkrab's juked the turret range. He gets slingshot all over the show, the lantern, but the explosive charge is already fully stacked up. And as it explodes, so does he. He's looking for the reset. He gets the kill. It's Gunkrab that's going to die amongst it all. And it continues to be Gravitas trading.
Yeah, I mean, is it misplay? It's misplays all round. It's Cupcake being too aggressive. Is that Red Cane, by the way? I think he's formed Red Cane. Or not. No, that's just the skin.
The skin always jukes me, I'll be quite honest.
That skin, no, it's just the skin. Kane skins need clarity, by the way. I'm just going to put that out there. No one plays Kane enough, and he might be dead.
He might actually be dead for this as a result. Yep, no flash, and Safa can do nothing but ult, and wonder if that really was the play right there. Divals can walk on in without a jungler. Doesn't really matter, no smite, no problem, and they can pick up the Herald.
And Cupcake goes from a big mistake to a big play, right? That's a free Rift Herald for the side of Gravitas, but he just reads the map too well, knows that on this timer, Azus is probably going to be there, sets up a kill for Claire, and Claire's really running away with the top lane matchup now. And again, so it's just too disrespectful, right? The bot lane's not in lane, and he's hitting a pink ward there. I'm sure if I give him that chance again, he doesn't do that. But this is a really nice play here out of Only and Gunkrab. Maybe a little bit too aggressive on the back end, Gunkrab falling down, but it is a nice punish. What was a huge win for the Gravitas bot lane turns out to be a even trade. So
I think I saw what happened there. I think it was Only looking to try and hit Fresh first to get Tara aggro because he was far healthier. It didn't go off because the hook connected, and then unfortunately Gunkrab dies in the action. So he'll be a little bit upset by that. Miscommunication or misexecution probably more than anything, quite honestly. The communication was definitely there, but Gravitas will take that as they'll keep this goal lead very close so early on. And it'll be question marks as to now where this Herald will go, as to where they want to invest this goal. Because you've already touched on it. You know, the Renekton wants to find that lead, and up by 20 CS, Claire's loving life.
Yeah, 100%. And you pick Renekton to win lane. You pick Renekton to get those leads early into the game. And, you know, a lot of times we see Renekton just go even, and then you start questioning, well, why is this champion picked? Because wouldn't we have been better with just an Ornn, with a Scion, with something that's a little more beefier, maybe even a set in certain situations?
Yeah.
However, in terms of this composition, if Claire doesn't get a lead, it can be very tricky to play into, right? Because you have the Thresh, has a Flay, has the box he can put down, has the hook to stop really any advances from Claire. Also pair that with the Ornn CC, pair that with the Lux CC, then Claire's in for a bit of a rough time. However, if this Crocodile is just really, really accelerated, it probably doesn't matter what CC comes through because they won't have enough damage to get through him.
Yeah, can buffer it for all the mitigation and survivability, especially when he has the empowered Q. Ensuring that he can literally be the raid boss that tanks up the world and more. But as to where this game state is at right now, he has been an interaction between mid-jungle to see who can pop off, and Shock, having invested in the Dark Seal, he fell on down full first blood, but since then, 6 stacks. He's showing why Zoe is just so annoying to face up against.
And it feels like he's just picking he's picking Zoe every game that he gets the opportunity. Now, this is a very good roam from Direwolves, because they know Kiyose used the Lux ultimate to clear the wave so that they could, so he could reset. Now, Shock doesn't need the reset, so they have this window to force the bot lane off the turret. Tristana does so much damage. They have the Rift Herald as well. So it's just first turret going over Direwolves. Really good play of the map.
Really nice. As you say, 30 seconds before those plates fall on down, guaranteeing that they only had 2 plates left. Headbutt one-shot it, and the gold all goes across to the Direwolves bot lane. So a nice little read on the map there, and more than anything, they get to zone away Gravitas too.
Yeah. The one thing I kind of want to keep touching on, but something keeps happening, is this Lux. It's not every day you see Lux in a competitive game. However, I don't think Lux is like a hyper carry by any means, but Lux is also quite weak at level 6 in the sense that you don't have enough like juice in the tank to one-shot the carry that you've landed the binding on. But there's a nice sweet spot in the mid game where if you land that Lux ultimate, you've pretty much forced them out of the fight, and Claire might be in trouble. He has no flash, and you have to hold the Ornn ult there. Little bit preemptive, little bit too early, and I think Azus really is just looking for that form upgrade because he's desperate and he's hanging 14, 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
Definitely the time where you want to have that upgrade. I mean, in solo queue, you definitely get it earlier.
I don't think Claire can quite believe what just happened there. As you say, no flash, no need to use the Z, no use the stride breaker either. He pretty much got ganked and hit the left and right and said, okay, I guess I've just got away with the 1v2.
Yeah, fancy feet. Fancy feet. Items, completed items being picked up now, Skimmy, just off these bases. So Lux picking up the Ludens. Didn't take stock of Shock's item, but I assume he's got his first item completed as well. So definitely item spikes across the board, 3,000 gold lead. Majority of that is going to be probably on the side of Shock as well as Gunkrab. Oh yeah, forgot about clearing the top lane too, 1k gold lead.
Oh, look at the damage already. That's even before his first completed item, and just the efficiency of those Magi, or I should say Dark Seal stacks. You'd imagine if it continues at this rate, it might become a Magi's, but...
he's done it a few games now.
He certainly has, you know. Yeah. Forget about the first blood, instant recovery from there. They've matched 1-for-1 in terms of CS, but the power is just going to look to try and zone away Gravitas and ensure that they can get, all these early objectives.
And the one thing I really like that Only's done here, as we might see a fight. Yeah, he could be caught. Never mind. The one thing I like Only's done is he's gone the defensive route, okay? He's in a position where he's ahead. Now, the only way you can lose your lead is if you die. If you're constantly on the map, you're not dying in skirmishes, or you're just able to clear jungle camps at ease, then and we might see Floppy caught. Never mind. Predator's been popped.
Oh! Well, that is the call. You talk about being defensive, and that means he can afford to do things like this. Flash on top of their head, put 2 people to sleep right now. Has the Zonyas, but doesn't necessarily need it just yet. Gonna have to pop at the very last second. Safa is down to 50%. They're just gonna take him on out. Only falls on down. And it was Direwolves that started off that fight. There's the 3-man pole. He gets exhausted. It's a reset angle, if I've ever seen it, between Gunkrab and Shock. What can he do? He finds 2, but he falls on down all the same. And now Shock, he's stolen away a flash. He doesn't have enough in the tank to ensure that they can turn that fight around. And it is actually Gravitas that come out ahead.
I think Gunkrab entered that fight there a little bit. Shock and Cupcake kept that fight alive, were able to recover their losses and almost turn that into a win. However, Gunkrab just rocket jumping in. And, that's actually the demise of all AD carries. And I think that's why we see a lot of ADs opt out of Tristana. Because you need to have discipline with that rocket jump. But the thing I wanted to touch on was the difference between Claire and Safa in that fight. Safa being on the Ornn, yeah, 40 CS down, but still doing Ornn things. And we touched on the Renekton and the problems the Renekton's going to have in this game when it comes to a group. And that was a prime example. Keep your eyes on the teleport here. And if you can, also watch Safa. No damage coming on through to him. Claire TP's in, pops the Dominus, and guess what? What did he do in that team fight? And this is why Renekton is talked about as being a problematic pick in certain situations. There's too much CC, and if Gravitas play it correctly, they're able to really negate the lead of this Renekton. And they almost played this fight perfectly, Gravitas. And, you know, at a 3,000 gold deficit, to be able to turn that one around when you're up against the early game champions of the Renekton, it's pretty promising.
I mean, it certainly is. I mean, that replay pretty much says it all, right? The fact that Claire comes in, thinks he's got a TP and got to work wonders and find his magic, but CC, before he even gets to play the video game, falls them down and watches Safa pretty much punish the fact that only was trying to be aggressive, was trying to force a play on their terms. And, you know, he ran out of ability to survive the situation. Zhonya's clutching at such low margins does not seem to matter. In a fight that Gravitas think, well, you know, this gold lead was definitely getting away from us.
Yeah.
But we've continued to keep it relatively even.
Yeah, they brought it back 1,000 just in that skirmish alone, bounties and all. So they've got to be very happy with that. They're 2 turrets down and they're about 3k down. So, you know, once they get those 2 turrets, if they ever do and keep the game kind of somewhat stable, they're in a very good position. I mean, just look at itemization, right?
Yeah.
You would suggest most of the gold lead is on Renekton at this point. Piglet was able to, and as we get to toggle, like Piglet's down, you know, just a little bit, but in terms of relative items and item power spikes, I'd say almost stronger than the Tristana at this point. 600 down in the top lane, and the rest really just in the jungle and mid. So, oh, had a little bit of a pause coming on through as we're just taking stock of game state and items. But I think in terms of the game itself, Gravitas aren't in a bad position. It is 3k. But it's just like 500 here, 500 there, which if you play the team fights out well, in which we saw in the last skirmish, then it's anyone's game. And we talked about Gravitas being the team that has the potential to upset the big dogs, right?
Yep.
And we consider Direwolves one of those teams. They get a little bit comfortable with game state. They start to play away from their win condition, away from their identity, away from what they're drafted. And then you start to see a team fight win for the side of Gravitas, because I think if we pause this game now and we just brought players in for an interview and said, hey guys, how do you want to execute? Like, Claire, what do you want to be doing in this game? He's going to say, I want to sit in the side. I want to keep on there. I want to be hitting away at this turret. And I just want to be doing that. Then I want to maybe collapse on the group. But if you say to them, or if you ask the Direwolves, do you just want to have a pure 5v5 where Claire TP's in, gets CC'd, and Safa's just dealing with the front line the back line of Direwolves? Do you want that? Of course they're going to say no. So it's almost like Direwolves just opting in for Gravitas' team composition, and this is something that they do a little too much.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, it felt like a situation where, you know, Renekton, you know, great laning phase, quite content into that side lane, but the fight then becomes a situation where, well, I have to rush someone with a TP or we lose even harder. You know, it's a 50-50 if I don't, 50-50 if I do, in a situation that obviously has panned out against them. And I suppose I'll raise the question now, you know, it is still Gravitas behind with the overall gold, but it is now Piglet 4-1. Insanely strong as that Kaiser. He's just completed a collector as well. Really big lead as a result. But my question is, you know, Azus has had this really strong early game of trying to allow leads like this for Kyose, but he's now 0-3. What really becomes Kane's role on this one? Because I know if we are going to get the 5v5, regardless of the points that you just mentioned, I would still prefer the Lilia.
Yeah, I mean, you'd prefer the Lilia, but not if the Lilia is flash sleeping an Ornn and a Thresh. So, I mean, we've talked about how good Only's been, but that last team fight was definitely a bit of a hiccup, bit of a mistake coming out of him. So, obviously Lilia's going to have the bigger team fight impact, but the thing about this blue Kayn, even when you fall behind, you don't have the one-shot potential, but you still have enough to put someone on lethal for Lux, right? Like, I don't think Azus is at a point where the damage isn't relevant.
Yeah.
He still has enough to be able to stall time, do a little bit of damage, then leave the rest to Kyose, leave the rest to Piglet. So he's always going to have a job in the team fight, but he just doesn't have the full one-shot potential just yet. But the threat is always there because you give a few bounties, you do a few things, then all of a sudden, the Kayn has a few Dark Harvest stacks, has maybe a Dustblade, maybe a few items here, and then we're talking about, you know, 2/3 of the way down. And when you think about it now, Gravitas' composition as a whole makes a lot of sense because Kyose is just playing damage dealer. Sorry, Kyose. Azus is playing damage dealer. He's playing threat on the back line of Direwolves. If he can do enough to get them down to half, Lux is in a position where she's going to do half alone with the Lux ultimate, right?
Yeah.
So it's all coming together, but it's important to note Direwolves are still ahead. They still have firm control of this game. But it is a slippery slope, right? Lose a team fight here, lose a team fight there, all of a sudden, level 14, level 15,
Yeah.
ornaments coming on through, and I'm stressing.
Well, I mean, we're, what, 19 minutes in at this current pools? I believe ornament was level 12.
Level 12?
So it's
Yeah.
starting to get close, right, to the ornament upgrade angle where, you know, you're looking at incremental leads. I think it's only at 3k in favor of Direwolves right now, a fight that definitely shored up that lead against them. So a situation when we talk about what ornaments represent, anywhere between, like, you know, a k to 2.5 to really giving yourself that situation. And kind of like what you mentioned, right, Lux isn't going to be that one-shot assassin, has those moments in the mid-game. Even if Kane isn't the, you know, the Prowler core one-shot, take you out of the fight sort of champion just yet, can definitely buy a lot of time where he use the ultimate to, like, you know, target the backline. Safa can try and get those flanking angles again. And then you are looking at situations where Piglet can be Uzi, just jumps in, hits the, you know, the reset switch with the missiles going on through, and you're thinking, hang on a minute, how are they getting out team for?
Yeah. Now, we've really emphasized the composition of Gravitas and how they do well and how they win the
Yep.
game and how it's scary. Now, how Direwolves can close this game out is they send Renekton to a side lane, right? Renekton gets the priority, really can't be matched. And honestly, at this point, Claire can 1v2 Kane and Ornn. Ornn's not doing enough damage. Claire's got too many items, and Azus doesn't have enough to send Claire to lethal, right? So Claire can generate 1v2 pressure. They have a fed Zoe. They have neutral objectives to play for. So what they can do is put Claire on the other side of the map, put him on an island. He's going to be winning the side lane. And then they're able to create pressure through vision control. Now Safa needs to decide, do I leave Claire to hit turret? Do I come down to help my team get vision control? What do? You start to force Gravitas to face check this Zoe, this Tristana, and no one besides the Ornn can face check. Thresh goes down, everyone goes down, except the Ornn. And so they have this composition where they can start to create decisions for Gravitas, but at the moment, if you say, here's the decision, here's the 5v5, they're going to win that, well, from what we saw in the last replay. So Direwolves just need to go back to the composition. They have the cool, calm heads to do so. I think they just got a little bit of a blood rush. You know, when you have the flash on Lilia, you're really just looking to make plays. And I think that was one of those instances where it was like, I have flash, I'm going to do something. And now that it's failed, they'll go back to what's been working for them, why and how they've got that 3,000 gold lead in the, prior. So I think Direwolves have that composure, but again, anyone's game. Super excited to see how that one plays out.
Yeah.
And I think, again, being, you know, we've talked about Direwolves being the team, the top 2, top 3 team. I think it's only fair that we criticize the shortcomings of a game where it's a team that hasn't made playoffs, right? Then that's the narrative. We wanted to see a very clean game, no skirmishes lost, no gold deficit given, and we're in a scenario now where that was their first team fight loss. So Direwolves really need to get back on the horse and turn this one around. And as I say that,
there it is.
Yeah.
As you say. Yeah, I mean, quite honestly, you're right? You know, you're looking to play towards your win con. You found yourself in a situation where, hey, I'm ahead, let's just try and, you know, maybe be a little bit greedy and see what we can get away with. And the punishment is definitely there. So, you know, not the cleanest of starts, but we're back in. And we appreciate your patience as we got things sorted on this end. But it's 20 minutes into this game here, Juves. As we mentioned already, for the side of Gravitas, not too far away here from the ornaments. For the side of Direwolves, look at them min-max their side laning advantages.
Cloud Dragon as well, and I thought we might see this. So you know the last time around we saw Gravitas play the 5v5 team composition? We saw them lose quite a bit of minion waves. But in this game, Kane is the type of champion where you can cheat tempo because you cover the map so quickly with the way that Kane hops through walls and goes for the Dragon still, Lux ultimate on such a short cooldown. But now Kane's able to farm side lanes as well, so there's less farm going to waste now from the side of Gravitas.
They're going to look to try and make a cross-map play as Direwolves pick up the Dragon. They're going to lose Gunkrab in the process right now. That's going to be the Kane looking to try and leap this bottom half of the Direwolves, but it's Cupcake that kills him with the rumble of the passive. That's a bit of an insult to injury right there. And still, 20 minutes into this game, we're tied at 9 apiece.
If you're Azus there, feel a little bit hard done by, right? Your 5 assists on the Kane. You really do need gold to start taking over the game. But again, 0-4 was still able to do enough damage so that Piglet could come in and clean that one up on the back end. So it's not all doom and gloom. And it is a nice pick from Gravitas, but it's also a very good trade back. Unfortunately, as the Kane, when you do go inside of the Alistar, when you hop on in, like the Tristana bomb and the damage of Ignite still goes off. So that's what happened there. That's why he fell down inside. If that even makes sense, fell down inside.
Yeah, that's a bit of a head twist. If you're not a League of Legends fan, you haven't played the Champions, you wouldn't understand that one. But I suppose that really is as articulate as you can put it, right? You know, he dies, in an untargetable state, but still taking the damage. Here he's on your screen right now, 0-4, still has the Prowler Claw, so looking to try and beat that Assassin and beat that Nuisance, but more so a damage sponge and somebody to do some of the damage sponging for his team, right? You know, to allow the likes of Kyose and Piglet to one-shot.
This could be the 5v5 window that Gravitas look for. You know, in that instance there, maybe like, you know, sure, it's Tristana. Tristana has flash, but Zoe's in the bot side of the map, no TP. I would like to maybe just see even an Ornhorn go out. Sometimes, like, it pays not to respect your opposition, right? Like, there's the universe where Gunkrab doesn't use the flash, doesn't use the rocket jump, gets hit by the Ornhorn, and then you get a pick there, and that transitions into a mid lane turret. You know, these ultimates, sometimes you just don't need them. There's no neutral objective to play for. You know, they're not going to be doing a Baron off spawn, and we might see a fight here, Skimmy. There's pings on the way, but I think they've given up on that. Good coverage from the side of Gravitas.
Lots of pings, as you say. Kim Tang had already been used there by Cupcake, who was definitely sniffing out something, but the vision is all predominantly around this top half of the map, especially if you're looking at bottom side for Direwolves. They've got that lit up like a bit of a Christmas tree to ensure that they know exactly where Sapphire is. He does have that TP, so can join the fight, but it's Renekton grouped up, playing towards the top half.
Yeah, and lane assignments are pretty weird in the sense that Lux is matching the Renekton now. However, this is exactly the type of growth I wanted to see from Gravitas in this game, in the sense that Saf is actually farming a side lane. Yeah. Right? They're not getting caught at the moment. And of course, cast the curse. My bad. Good damage traded back though. But as we're talking about, Gravitas aren't getting caught. They're eating farm. They're pushing waves into tower. And now they're grouping and looking for the fight.
And you see,
so let's see what happens here.
Bot lane crashed. He's grouped up in mid because you can see that Direwolves are putting on the pressure between mid and top and forcing out their opposition's hand. They've asserted control of the top half of this jungle as well. And just buying up space and resources to allow Tristana to delete these structures. That's going to be Azu's getting put to sleep right now. He's just going to get punished as a result of that one. There's no chance for a Lantern to disengage. Stopwatch is used. The shock wasn't going to get hit, and then he headbutts into absolutely nothing. Gunkrab's just going to fall on down. Lux Blaze is disgusting. It's a 1-4. Make it a 2-for-1 because Gravitas is smurfing. It's Azu's that falls on down, but they somehow come out ahead, Juice.
But we're seeing how the composition of Gravitas functions, and that was without a jungler, right? Like, legit, that was a legit 4v5, and they were still able to turn that one around. And, you know, we talk about gold lead, but at what point does, like, a better 5v5 composition just trump gold lead? You know what I mean? In the sense that they're still playing towards Claire. And it feels like this is the one identity Direwolves are sticking with, and they haven't really figured out a way to play the 4-1, to play the side lane correctly, because it just doesn't make sense that they're grouping on Claire and they're not utilizing this Zoe pick and the relevant Zoe damage to then open up a Baron objective. They're just opting in for a straight 5v5, or in that case, it was a 4v5 and they still lost it.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, sure, there's the silver lining that Shock has continued to pick up these Magia stacks, but that was them looking to go for the one-shot on a Zeus. Sure, the punishment is there instantaneously, but the fact is that it can turn things around. Sapphire goes for the flash headbutt into absolutely nothing, but the zonal ability causes the Lux Laser to connect, and Gunkrab's health bar just a flash before his eyes, and 15 seconds here. Juve's 25 minutes on the dot, and it's soul point.
And I would almost argue that at this point in the game, the lead is with Gravitas, in the sense that the ornament is now through on the Kai'Sa, but if she falls down here, obviously it doesn't matter. So, yeah, and Shock's just doing too much damage at the moment. They can't take too many more of these.
Yeah, well, if they don't commit to this one, Shock is going to literally just 1v5 this fight and make it a win for Direwolves as a result. The Dragon has been started. It's down to 20 on 100. It's getting lower. Only he's already found Floppy. It's going to be a double kill right there. Shut down here for Claire to get himself back into this game. The Dragon has been acquired. It has been stolen away as well, so that's soul point here to take. They've managed to get the shutdown onto Shock and remove him, but it's at the biggest expense of them just losing so many members. And Direwolves now can play around with those respawn times and continue to siege.
Yeah, and so Direwolves played that one extremely well. They used their non-committal poke coming out of the Zoe to really just win them that one, right? Like, that's all it was. In that specific situation, Claire's gone under tower. But in that specific situation, Zoe's just non-committal. It's non-committal free damage. And in that instance, Gravitas did not pull the trigger. In every other skirmish, Gravitas was starting with the Ornhorn, starting with some form of CC. but they kind of just got a little bit of deer in headlights for that dragon, and they decided to opt out of the fight, and they just got poked down. Really well played from Shock, really well played from the Direwolves there.
And really well done there from Claire in that little exchange. Look how aggressive he was, zoning away all of Gravitas. That had to face check, they had no vision. The Lux Laser comes out because they did have at least vision on the Baron itself. He tries to steal it, but let's run it back with this team fight.
Yeah, it's just like Floppy's starting dead, Piglet's starting below half health. It's not a team fight at this point, right? That Alistar could have solo out the Kaiser in that situation. It's a really nice flash, headbutt, pulverize, and it's just, at this point, it's just clinical from Direwolves, and really, really showing us why Shock is such an important factor on this team. Yeah, he's just stepped up, and Floppy might be caught here now too.
He's caught out of a situation. There is nowhere to go. If you flash over that wall, there's the TP, and Claire would have taken you down all the same. Another respawn, another 4v5 situation. Hasn't prevented Gravitas before. They still have that one-shot potential available for them to minimize the effectiveness of all these Baron buffs, but their waves are pushing against them, and with the Baron buff there to take, no doubt Direwolves now looking to try and open up an inhib.
Yeah, and you know, at this point in the game, when you have the composition that Direwolves have, it's going to be very hard to stop this Baron siege. Zoe lands any Q onto any member that's not Sapphire, they're going to have to go back to base, and I would like to see Gravitas just pull the trigger. I don't like seeing teams just, you know, get poked away, withered away, and losing the game this way. You know, they got 2 lanes of pressure. Renekton can't participate in the fight, so I want to see Sapphire really just pull the Ornhorn here, and this could be it. No flash on Zoe.
Definitely flirting with danger. That's the one shot. He's just going to die. All the Magi stacks lost in a heartbeat. Beautiful play there from Gravitas. What can Direwolves look to do and try and salvage from this situation? The box has gone down. It's zoned away. Cupcake, he can't do too much as his ult expires. His health bar might as well. That's Lilia down. It's a 2-0 trade in favor of Gravitas here. The beautiful base defense. Gunkrab looking for a reset angle. He's rocket jumped in. He's just been bound. He's down to 50%. Floppy so low. Kyose down low as well. They're flirting with the resets. He buys himself a little bit of time there with the stopwatch juice, and that's all it took for a triple.
Yeah, the MVP there was Gunkrab. If you watched him over the side of the wall there, he was just free hitting, getting satchel charges off in a narrow corridor, in a composition that's that squishy for Gravitas. It's just going to do way too much damage, and this actually might be game. Tristana's just going to one-shot these towers. Floppy's going to go in to try and save the day, but he's just dead.
He certainly is dead, and there's another 15 seconds before anybody can look to try and contest this one. The TP's come through, as that will be Direwolves ending the game at a 29-minute mark. That guarantees them a top 3 finish, but far from clean there, Jubes.
Far from clean, but it's funny how Direwolves win games at times, right? We talk about how close it is and how it really is on a knife's edge, because it could have gone either way, and then the gold lead is no longer there, and then Gravitas start to take the lead, but they do a very good job of closing that one out at 28 minutes. Like it really did look like a game that was a little bit too easy for them, but I think if you watch the full game, and Direwolves in particular won't be too happy with the performance, but they'll be content with the win.
No doubt, obviously, for what it represents. And Mac, what did you make of that game? There was a bit of an ebb and flow, I suppose you could say, between, okay, maybe Gravitas come back into this one, the ornaments are there to take into consideration, and just getting caught in these team fights that were going against them.
Yeah, look, I got quite excited because there was a couple of points where I was like, oh, Gravitas, they got this, you know, they started to win some fights here and there, you know, doing a pretty damn good job up until that 28-minute fight. And I just wanted to quickly ask a question. There was a point where like 2, maybe 3 of the Gravitas players could have left, and I just want to know, is that an overstay, or did they just truly think that they could take that 3-on-2 against Gunkrab at the end?
Oh, look, I think it's a bit hard to
right?
escape from that scenario. And I think if Azus even times his Kayn abilities just that little bit better there, then potentially the game stays alive. Like, I think he takes down Gunkrab if he's able to time it out of the Zhonya's or out of the GA. I can't remember which item it was. So, yeah, just maybe a little bit of mistiming, but they're honestly just fighting at a 7k deficit, and that's just what a 7k deficit team fight looks like. They're able to pick up Shock. They use the Ornhorn to do so, but it just wasn't enough. And once this Cloud Drake goes down, feels like a little bit of doom and gloom here. They just weren't able to set up at crucial times, and Direwolves just too experienced. The setup was just there, and
this is the fight you're referring to, right? I mean, this is so clean to start off with. You remove Shock. He's been the annoying harassment that's allowed you to start off these fights with an advantage. But watch Gunkrab, as you say, you know, fighting across this wall, able to pretty much do so much right now, untouched, not a problem in the world.
Yep.
And basically, this becomes a case of stopwatch difference. Look at the amount of damage that Direwolves have done across all these members. He can jump across, sure, I'm rooted, maybe I'm in trouble right now. You soak up that hook, no drama. I'm going to buy some time with a stopwatch. you know, I can live for as long as I like, and you know, just finds the resets from there.
Yes, it was that 4-on-2, but obviously, I guess with the numbers advantage, they probably thought they could have just smashed through Gun Crab, but Gun Crab just smashed through them and happily standing on the other side of the wall. So, look, at least a very entertaining match. And I dare say, look, if you look at Gravitas at the start of Split 1 and where they are now, you can see a world of improvement. What are your thoughts on that one, Juice?
Yeah, look, they've only won 2 games, but I feel like in maybe a handful, they've been in positions to win a lot of their games.
Yeah.
And it's just come down to like that mid-game experience, like that the setup isn't there at that moment, or their laning phase has put them at a point in which it's just, they're uphill. They need to win 3 team fights to break even, and they win 2 and then they lose on the 3rd one. And there's just like all these kind of little instances in Gravitas' Split so far where it's what could have been. What could have been if they had a cleaner laning phase? What could have been if they just set up to that neutral objective first? If they didn't take the Zoe poke, if they knew to just pull the trigger. And it's a lot of positives. It's a lot of things to take away. And obviously the season's not done. The split's not over. They still have time to even build on that further. But they look like a team who could really make a surge for playoffs come Split 2.
I wouldn't
really
put that past you,
hope we
right?
get to see
I
that.
think, Mac, they are definitely a team to keep your eyes on because they've got plenty of potential, I think. Playoffs, maybe. I think for them, it's going to be looking to try and cause as many upsets as possible because, you know, Chiefs, Order, as well as, you know, Legacy are all going to be looking to try and say, well, we want that playoff spot as well, but maybe Gravitas are the new dark horse to look out for.
Yeah, in with a shot, so to say. And someone else that's always in with a shot is Nat. She's always, you know, about to win. She's always down on the sidelines. You know, it's pretty much like she's in the game, but she's just outside of the rift all the time. So, Nat, you know, you want to tell us about your plans to make it as a pro player going into the next split?
Oh, yeah, I think I'm just going to grind really hard, you know. I'm just
Yep.
going to be quitting my job, and I'm going to be putting more hours into the game, as Jubes always says, you know.
Yeah, smart decision, honestly. But who do you have down on the sidelines there with you to coach you through all this?
Oh, I'm going to be talking to Shock, because that was a very interesting game, to say the least. I want to start with the draft. I mean, first of all, congratulations for the win. But I want to start with the draft. I think a lot of people were taken aback by the Lux. So I want to know how you guys felt coming out of the draft and when you saw the Lux pick.
Well, I think Lux is like one of his signature champions. He plays a lot in solo queue and he's quite good at it, but I think Lux just kind of sucks. And to be honest, I didn't really know what to pick into Lux because I've never played against a champion competitive, I don't think. So I think we were really happy with our draft, but Lux was pretty annoying in the mid game, and actually when I got flashed on and died level 3. So yeah, definitely an annoying champ, but not as annoying as Zoe.
It was a pretty close game, it felt, in most of those lanes. And, you know, what do you think gave you the massive lead for you guys to be able to close out the game? At what point were you like, this is when we can win this game?
Well, I think we were in a pretty comfortable spot the entire game. They didn't really have the tools necessary to snowball, and they were playing a useless jungle champ. So yeah, I was pretty happy, but the time I really felt like the game was over was at the Dragon when I was just killing the whole team by myself. I felt like that was kind of the nail in the coffin.
Walk me through that a little bit more, because I'm interested to know about the play getting the soul point and then going into Baron off the back of that. I want to know, you know, what communications were happening in the team to execute those plays?
I think at the time, I only was calling that he was just going to clear the mid wave, but I was just poking them over the wall because I had like the best position ever. And my team, I think maybe wasn't expecting them to be 1 HP. And I was like, guys, they're 1 HP, by the way. And so then everyone turned and, yeah, we just killed them.
Oh, look, that's a recipe for success right there. The last question I do want to ask, though, is with that game, do you think it heavily sided more towards Gravitas really has stepped up and developed a lot? Or do you think it kind of came down to a lot more of mistakes that you guys were making?
I think Gravitas are definitely like better than at the start of the split, but so are we, obviously. But yeah, I never really felt like the game was in a good spot for them. I felt like we had control the whole time.
Awesome. Well, congratulations again, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
There you go. So, Shock, the funny one from Direwolves, as we remember from earlier back in the split. Now, I hope we do get a couple of sick jokes from him as we do go into playoffs.
No moo jokes.
It looks like as he dropped his joke game down, Direwolf started winning. So maybe he took it a bit more seriously. But look, that's a conversation for another time. We do have a third match coming up very shortly. It's going to be Chiefs and Mammoth coming up just after the break. Let's see if Mammoth can finally get another win on the board or if Chiefs can lock things down.
The shot wasn't going to get hit, and then he headbutts into absolutely nothing. Ghostcrab's just going to fall on down. Lux Blaze is disgusting. It's a 1-4. Make it a 2-for-1 because Gravitas is smurfing. All the Magi stacks lost in a heartbeat. Beautiful play there from Gravitas. What can Divals look to do and try and salvage from the situation? The box has gone down. It's zoned away. Cupcake, he can't do too much as his ult expires. His health bar might as well. That's Lilia down. It's a 2-for-nothing trade in favor of Gravitas here. The beautiful base defense. Ghostcrab looking for a reset angle. He's rocket jumped in. He's just been bound. He's down to 50%. Floppy so low. Kyosei down low as well. They're flirting with the resets. He buys himself a little bit of time there with the